me now, Congressman. You don't think some of the consequences that Joe Biden and others allude to are a bit overstated?
Well, look, first of all, I'm disappointed I didn't get invited to the 15-year anniversary, Neil.
Yeah.
But let me say this, that the biggest consequence is that families will continue to lose their homes, lose their hopes. Our country will go further into debt and deficit. We need to get people back to work. Now, this administration has lowered the crime rate consecutively over the last 3 years. They worked hard on all of the issues important, and we see real progress. Been some talk about the solar industry. We have 100,000 Americans working in solar that we didn't have 2 years ago. I visited a plant in Philadelphia with Boeing where they're making helicopters there. They had 4,000 people 2 years ago. They now have 6,000. The problem is that we have a team on the other side that feels though beating the president is more important than getting Americans back to work. And we need to work hard. Let's pass the jobs bill.
Yeah, but it was many of your same
like
colleagues,
bill,
Congressman, in the Senate who rejected this, who didn't get it over the goal line. So, I mean,
yeah,
are they inviting some of the very things you're saying Republicans are?
Here's the news flash. 26 consecutive months of private sector job growth. Over 2.6 million new jobs, but it's not enough. And we got 51 Democrats in the Senate to vote for the jobs bill. We lost.
Congressman, we're down a net 2.5 million jobs. We're down 2.5 million jobs.
But, you know, statistics are challenging things. But let's say this.
No, actually they're not, Congressman. I mean, they are what they are. You can politicize them, but when we're down 2.5 million jobs, this was rejected on the notion, sir, that this wasn't cutting it by many in your own party. So then what?
26 months consecutive of private sector job growth, 2.6 million jobs. That's a true statement.
Net, we are down 2.5 million jobs. You and I can go back and forth on the real numbers. I just want to ask you this. The jobs bill itself was repudiated by many in your own party. Now, to threaten that there's going to be all but a civil war if we don't repeat the errors of prior stimulus efforts, don't you think that's a stretch?
51 senators, Democrats all, voted for the jobs bill. We lost a couple. Every single Republican voted no. Now, you want to focus on the handful of Democrats who voted no, and I want to focus on the fact that not one Republican thought we should do anything to put Americans back to work.
They thought that maybe, and as well as some Democrats thought that, look, repeating the sins of the past that didn't yield big results means maybe we should seek an alternative. There are already blue dog Democrats who are later on in this very show have an alternative to try to encourage jobs, and that is to remove the onerous tax on that money that's being kept abroad. Would you be open to that? Would you be open to those who say the president's efforts, the things that you like, sir, aren't getting it done, so let's try something else?
Well, Neil, what I'm willing to do is to try almost anything. But let me say this to you, right? The American public supports the president's jobs bill 2 out of every 3, and they support the way he wants to pay for it. There is no other bill before the Congress. I go with what Eric Cantor says. It's really the Congress's job to introduce bills and to get them passed, and the president's job is to sign them or not sign them. So we don't have to criticize the president. Let's have the Republican leadership come forward and say, this is our jobs bill.
Now, look, I mean, we can go back and forth saying it's the Republicans' fault. I could just as easily talk about Democrats and 2 years without submitting a budget when you guys are running the show. We can go play this game forever, Congressman. I guess what I'm asking, would you be open? Would you be open? Would you be open for an alternative measure? Let's get past this, you know, jobs bill stuff that doesn't seem to bear results or adequate enough fruit, and let's say cut taxes or do something to bring the $1.5 to $2 trillion that companies are keeping abroad, with the hope being that once you do bring it here, jobs materialize. Would you be open to that, as some of your blue dog Democrat colleagues are?
Yeah, I'm willing to work towards the repatriation of those dollars if a significant percentage are going to be invested in manufacturing improvements here in America. Not just a one-time cash out for the people who are going to get the money, but actually investing in small manufacturing, medium-sized manufacturing in our country. We have to make things. I think we can work at an accommodation that meets the interests of those companies to bring some of that money that's offshore back onshore. And yes, there are ways we can work together, but the president has put a bill forward. The Republicans should put a bill forward, and then you, Neil, can look at both bills and figure out what of them make any sense. Well, your colleagues looked at this bill. In the one place where you had a shot, the Senate, it was shot down. So I think it's fair to say, especially when I hear your colleagues are picking it apart and saying, what can we salvage from this, that the bill itself, as the president envisioned, is dead, gone, right? Here, follow this, Neil. 51 senators out of 100 voted for it. 63% of the country is for it.
It didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. You know what? I'll tell you, there was a time when I wanted to be an astronaut growing up. I was a fat kid. I realized I couldn't fit in the capsule, so I moved on. And I then moved on to journalism. My point is, in no intended jest here, that you have to realize the numbers what they are. This failed in the Senate. It's time to move on, right?
Well, here's the deal, right? What we need to do is understand that this is not a competition between Republicans and Democrats. We're competing against the rest of the world, India and China. We have to get our country back to work.
So cut taxes, right? Cut taxes. How about cutting taxes? That's the problem.
Well,
we're at a big disadvantage on
Neil,
that,
you
right?
might have missed this, but for 8 years under Bush, we cut taxes and we ended up with no net jobs. Big zero over 8 years. So why would we do the same thing that didn't work?
Wait, no, Carol. So events that we had in the interim, things like 9/11, a recession when he started office, I'm not here to go back in time, but since you just did, you will not acknowledge that there were other factors there?
Well, I will acknowledge that every time the president says there was an earthquake and a tsunami in Japan, you say, and other Republicans say, oh, that's just a poor excuse. So if Bush can have an excuse for why he had no new jobs, and our president has put forward a program that would put Americans back to work, let's have a fair discussion.
All right. It's always good having you.
I wasn't invited to the 15th anniversary.
It was not personal. It had nothing to do with the invites.
Deal,
you know what? They didn't even invite me. They didn't even invite me. In the meantime, I have no idea.
But I saw your show. It was a great show.
Thank you,
even if I wasn't on it.
Very good having you.
Thank you.
All right, fair and balanced. The other side of this, Republican Congressman